Welcome back to the Couch Potato Show. Today we've got a very special guest joining me and Frank. We got Paul Hiepler of Abilene Christian. Paul, how you doing today?
Doing well. Just glad to be on your guys' show. So thank you for having me on. The honor's all mine.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know you very well?
Yeah, just a hardworking guy, shooting guard at Abilene Christian, man of God, a man of faith. From Southern California, going to be going to law school this coming fall. Engaged, have a fiance back home, and yeah. Thank you so much. I think that's the Spark Notes version of me.
So what got you into basketball originally?
Yeah, I was 3 years old when I started playing basketball. So my brother is 5, and my dad, I don't like to say lie with my dad, but he, didn't read one section where it said you had to be 5. So I played with my brother, like in like a little kids league when I was 3. So that's, what started the fire and everything. So I look at it as I've had, a 20-year career in basketball because, I'm turning 23, whatever, this summer. So that's what got me started, and always been a big fan of the game, big fan of March Madness. In high school and everything, I was a huge March Madness nerd. I'd collect thousands of brackets from people and have, a big school tournament. Didn't accept money in case, the NCAA is listening. But it was just all for fun, all for bragging rights, all for a big trophy. But yeah, I've always loved basketball, always been a huge fan of the game.
And Paul, what made you go to Abilene Christian over other schools in your area? What about Abilene Christian made it special to you?
Yeah, so I had 2 other options for a walk-on spot at 2 schools. One of them was, a pretty big-time basketball school. And, I thought I was going to go to that school because, I had the notoriety and everything of, being that big basketball school, being, a usual top 25 school. And, I prayed a lot about it. And the night before I was going to sign with that school. I signed with Abilene Christian. It's a really good biblically based school. As a Christian myself, it's a Christ-centered university, but that's the main reason that I was there. That's what drew me there, because I love Abilene, but it's in the middle of West Texas. It's not a big tourist destination. But yeah, I think the first question I always get when people learn I'm from Southern California is, what are you doing here? Because it's so rare that they have like a person from Southern California, in Texas, in West Texas. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into your season this year. Obviously, congrats on a huge season. You guys.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. 24-5 record, 13-0 undefeated at home. Only a few other schools in Division I can say that. Mm-hmm. What do you think contributed to the team's success the most this year?
Yeah, we returned a lot of guys. So we had a lot of guys who knew the culture of the program. That's the biggest thing, is culture. It's culture over talent. One of our sayings was, before we played Texas Tech, we gave them, a run for their money this year. We almost beat them. And, the line was 5-star culture over 5-star talent. So I think that's the basis for everything. We're just a blue collar, scrappy team. You watch us play and it's ugly. Like, it's not pretty, but that's our trademark. We cause
favorite way to watch teams play, honestly. Scrappy is so much more fun to watch for me.
Yeah, we just cause people to lose their minds and turn it over. And that's how we beat Texas. I called my brother right after, the game that we won, and he goes, dude, that was the ugliest game I've ever seen. But when you shoot 29% and you beat Texas still, that just shows how good
you gotta do something right,
Yeah, exactly.
So what was your team's mindset going into the Southland tournament? You guys were the number 2 seed in the tournament. Nichols is ahead of you. What was the mindset like, knowing that you had to win this tournament to go to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, so we knew, even if, we had quote unquote won the regular season, that we would have to win that tournament. We're a 1-bid league. We're never going to be a 2-bid league. But the thing that kind of drove us, so we should have won conference, but a snowstorm hit us here in Abilene, and we missed 2 games that we couldn't play. So we couldn't make up those 2 games. So if we had played just one of them, we would have been conference champions. But, we went in there like, we're the best team in the conference, 100%. Like, no one doubted that. We're going to run away with this thing, and we're going to be in Indianapolis. Our coach told us, he's like, make sure you guys pack extra clothes, because, we were leaving straight from Katy, which is where our conference tournament is, to Indianapolis. But it was funny. So Nicholls State, when they were in the same hotel as us in Katy, and they walked in and they had this shirt that said like conference champions and had like a big ring on the back.
Oh man,
And then
not good.
Right when we saw that, we were like, oh man, it is on. Because I'm like, you can't say that. Like they didn't play
You're
us.
regular season champions, man. It's not the same thing.
They didn't play us. They didn't play SFA. Who are the two best teams in the conference, like always. So they dodged two of those, which, we play each other twice. So that's 4 games that they didn't play against us. So, no, disrespect to Nicholls State, but that was the chip on our shoulder that we needed. We were like, oh man, they think that they're conference champions. Like they haven't seen anything yet. And I mean, we beat them by what, 34 or something. So I think that proved who is the real champ in the league.
Yeah, I think so. Something we do every week. We have a weekly episode, and something we like to do when March comes around is me and Frank, we sit down and we look at every single conference tournament, and we pick the winner of each and every one.
All 32.
Wow.
31 this year. No Ivy League.
31.
Yeah.
So I will throw myself under the bus here, and I will admit that I did pick Nicholls State. But Frank here, he did pick you guys, and
I think that's why I like Paul. Frank so much better, man. I think I like.
I got your back. I knew you were gonna come on the show. I had your back.
If only I had known that you guys had this whole mentality going.
Yeah.
Listen, you gotta look at the scores, man. I know they didn't play each other. I knew that Nicholls was a fluke.
Yeah, it was funny because like we would see like whatever Joe Lenardi and all these people come out with their whatever like projected bracket, and they always just choose whoever's first, quote unquote, first place in the league.
Yeah.
And we're like, Joe Lenardi's probably never even heard of Abilene and has never probably even watched like a Southland Conference basketball game in his life. And that's what we always said. We're like, we're not paying attention to all these bracketology things. Yeah. No, who cares? I mean, we made it and we beat Texas. So, and I think it was Joe Lenardi too. Like right before the Texas game, he was like, I don't see how Abilene Christian could beat Texas, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought of that, but he was just the one that popped in my mind. But I like Joe Lenard. I have nothing against him, but I just remember that, so we use that as motivation.
So Paul, going back to that final game, conference game, what was the feeling like when that buzzer went off and you guys knew that you had your ticket punched the NCAA tournament?
So I keep saying like it was so weird just because of I played in the NCAA tournament in 2019. Against Kentucky, and it was crazy, sold out crowd. I forget how many thousands of people were there, but there wasn't a seat in the building. But it was weird this year because you're in Lucas Oil Stadium, which is usually where like the national championship is, but we're there as a first round game,
right?
And there's a lot of people there, don't get me wrong, but like in that arena it's so spread out, it's crazy. So I keep telling people like when we won, it felt like I won like a big pickup game or like an intramural game, because like you really can't hear anyone out there.
Yeah.
Like you can't hear anyone unless they're like right next to you. And like before the game I was saying that too, like they were blasting music, but like I couldn't even hear it. And I was telling people, I was like, it feels like I'm in like the middle of like a meadow, like in like some nature area. Like it just feels so peaceful and calm, even though you're about to play in front of millions of people. So yeah. That's my answer for that. But I mean, it was weird, but at the same time, you're so excited because you just beat Texas, but without all the, crowd stimulus coming in.
So you guys obviously punch your ticket and you get to Selection Sunday. You guys know you're in, you have no idea what seed you're going to be. So the team is all together for Selection Sunday. Are you guys hoping for a good seed? Are you hoping for a good matchup? Are you just happy to be on TV? What's going on in that room at that time?
So this year we knew that we were going to have a better seed. We played Kentucky in 2019, like I said, and like Tyler Hero, PJ Washington, they had a bunch of guys that are in the league now. I looked at the box score from that game, and I think 8 people play for Kentucky. All 8 of them are in the NBA now. So I knew
that team was insane. That team was
I knew we weren't going to face that. I knew we were going to face a high major, good team. I knew we weren't going to be like a 6 seed, but I was hoping for either like a 12 or a 13. I knew we weren't going to be a 12, but I thought we were going to be a 13. But looking at it now, like I'm happy that that we were a 14, you know, because I mean that just makes the story so much better. Playing Shaka Smart, you know, playing all these dudes that, you know, they have three or four NBA players on their team too. But I was hoping we were going to get Virginia, you know, because Virginia was coming off all the adversity that happened with
all
them.
the COVID stuff. Yeah,
exactly. They're coming off of that, but like I said, looking at it now, like I wouldn't want anyone else because it makes the story so much better. You know, UT is the big bully in Texas, you know. Everyone, you know, so many people are UT fans. And, you know, little Abilene Christian in, you know, the middle of West Texas, you know, takes them down. You know, a school with a $200 million athletic budget versus a school with like a $2 million athletic budget.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it felt so good. But yeah, on Selection Sunday, you know, our coach spoke to us right after. He's like, we got a good draw. He's like, we're not playing Kentucky. He's like, we're playing Texas. And he was like, we're going to win this game 100%.
That's the perfect mindset you have to have.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys got like little goodie bags I saw for when you get to Indianapolis in the hotels. Like, so like what was in there? What was your favorite thing that was in there?
So there's a bunch of like cool little stuff. So we got a bunch of socks. The hat's really cool. The hat's really special. So we got the hat. We got some shoes. I got some Paul George's. But the weirdest thing was the toiletry bag they gave us. There were 6 sticks of deodorant in there. Like six sticks. It was crazy.
Oh,
and I brought them all.
The big sticks or like the little ones?
Yeah, no, the big sticks. There was like 6 of them, and then
man,
like
we're gonna be there for 2 years.
Yeah, and then like a big bottle of spray deodorant, and then they gave us like 3 huge like jugs of shampoo. So like every time I would take a shower, I would just like pour like a whole thing of shampoo in like both
you got
my
plenty,
hands.
right? You might as well use it.
Because I was like, I gotta use this. I'm not bringing this on the plane. Like, I brought the
free,
deodorant.
Right?
I brought the deodorant because I mean I'm good on deodorant for like 3 years now. But yeah, the goodie bag was cool. In Jacksonville, I mean they gave us only 1 stick of deodorant in the locker room. I don't know what it is with the NCAA and deodorant. I think they're sponsored by
They're big on deodorant, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they're sponsored by Degree or something. But you know, we got that, and then we got like a hat, and that was it. But I mean, this year we got a ton of stuff. You know, there's flag behind me from there, and they give us pillowcases. Yeah, it was stuff like you wouldn't think they'd give you, but no, I definitely enjoyed the goodie bag this year.
Paul, going back to the Texas game, what was your guys' game plan going into that game? Like, you know, you're facing Texas, you're a 14 seed. Do you guys just go out like, oh, we got nothing to lose, let's just play our game and see what happens?
No, so that was kind of our mentality with Kentucky. And it was different because on our plane to Jacksonville in 2019, we had like the whole school, we had like our neighbor, we had literally like everyone from the city on this plane. And like I had like a middle seat like on this plane. Like that's how packed this thing was. And you know, that year is kind of like, oh, we're just gonna have fun in Jacksonville. Like that was kind of the mentality, like, oh, it's just gonna be a Hail Mary, like we're happy to be there. But like the second we beat Nicholls State in the conference tournament, the mentality was we're going down here to win a game, and we're going down here to go deep in the tournament. Like we don't care who like we're playing, like that's our mentality. And that's how our practices were. We practiced like the same as we always do. I think a lot of, you know, smaller schools, when they're facing schools like that, like people try to do too much and try to be, you know, unorthodox and out of their element. But like us, it was funny, our coach, so we're such a defensive, like structured team. Like I would say our practices are 90% defense and maybe like 10% offense. And our defensive coach, who's our associate head coach, he says, everything I've taught you about defense, throw it out the window. He says, just go hard and just cause chaos this game. So, I mean, it's the opposite of usually what teams do when they try to make it so like robotic. This is our plan.
They try to get down to every little detail. It's
exactly. And basically they were like, you guys are good. We are the number 1 defensive team in the country. We finished with that, you know, by all the calculations, where points scored, turnovers forced, all that. But yeah, it was just get out there and play your butt off like all game. You know, cause chaos and get turnovers, and we're going to win this game.
You know, we got to jump to the celebration after the game, you know. What made you think of doing the horns down, the classic? It's all over the place now. What was your first thought going into it?
So I keep telling people this, and it's like, it's the honest truth. I didn't know that was like a thing. Like I didn't know horns down was a thing, but in Texas, like that's like the most offensive thing that you can do to like a Longhorns, fan or
Yeah.
something like that. So I saw someone literally like while we're on the bus going to Lucas Oil Stadium, I see some random guy like on the side of the road doing this. He was doing this, and I was like,
You're
I
like,
kind
what
of
does
like
that
that.
mean?
I was like, that's kind of cool. Like I thought I might have like kind of invented something, but I do it after the game, and I call my brother right after the game. He's like, dude, you have no idea what you just did. He's like, Barstool, like all these people are
It was
saying
all
you're
over the
like a
place. I saw it on like Bleacher Report, House of
yeah.
Highlights.
He's like, all these people are saying you're like a total savage for doing this. I was like, really? But yeah. The celebration, I mean, is kind of what I'm probably going to be remembered for. But I mean, it was 4 years of just being hyped, being a good teammate that got me to that point.
So it was all over Twitter. I even saw it after the game. I was like, this is crazy. Who is like, I have to guess that you at least like scan through and just see how far and how viral this went. Who is like the craziest person you saw react to this?
Man, there were so many. Like, obviously there's like the blue checks and stuff, and this one guy, like I'm not big into like rock music, but this guitarist, I'm not sure his name, he DM'd me. He had like a couple 100,000 followers, like big time guitarist, and he's like, I need that jersey in my studio for like the energy or something. And I was like, I'll see what I can do. I don't think I can like keep my jersey at the end of the year, small school, but I mean, the stuff with March Madness was pretty crazy. How they found March Madness did like a post, and they had me with Steph, Shaq, and D Wade, like from when I was like a
Jeez,
long
yeah.
time ago, like years and years and years ago, and they did it like right after the game. So that was probably the coolest part, because I was like, man, that is quick that they went back in my Instagram and
They don't
found
mess
all of
around,
that.
man. They get that stuff out quick.
No, I mean that's people's full-time job, like finding stuff like that. So I was super impressed with how they found all of it.
And what was the reaction like when you guys got back to school? Obviously, we said you had the parade today. So what was that whole experience like, just getting back to your small school and just seeing the celebration?
Yeah, so obviously we want to win more games, in Indianapolis. You want to go as deep as you can, but leaving the hotel felt kind of good, just because you're so locked down there. And we had been on the road for like 2.5 weeks, if you count, the conference tournament.
Right.
So leaving, felt really good, because I mean, you can't do anything there. You have to be in your hotel room the whole time. So, we get on the plane, headed to Abilene, and there's like a huge dust storm that happened, like huge one. And the winds were super high and everything. So I'm thinking, oh shoot, like no one's going to come out and support us or anything. But, our bus drives up to the campus, and there's like 300-400 people out there like ready to meet us, and they're going nuts. Like in the middle of, basically a dust storm with all these high winds and everything. Like they stayed there. And I mean, we got there probably at, 1 a.m. And they were there till like 2 a.m. I was there till the last person was there. So that was awesome. And I mean, it's going to be huge going forward for the school, just like the fandom and everything, especially once COVID's over. We have a new arena being built. I'm sad I won't get to play in it, but I'm totally content, leaving the school, leaving the game, just because, I'm riding off into the sunset on the perfect note. So
That's what you want.
yeah, 100%. You can't end any better than this.
I'd hope they would at least give you like free tickets to that new arena, right?
I think they might. A bunch of people in Oklahoma, because they hate UT. I've gotten a bunch of, free food offers from restaurants there. So I might have to take them up on that if I ever go to Norman. But yeah, that's funny.
So I would have to guess that your best memory of your senior year would have to be one of those, either that Texas win or that Nicholls State win. Other than those two big wins, what was your favorite memory from this senior season?
There's a lot of memories. Obviously, beating Stephen F. Austin at home is a huge one. I've never won there. Very few teams can win a game at Stephen F. Austin. But the craziest story I have from this year, that's going to go down as my favorite memory, almost more than the Texas game. Like you can't top the Texas game. But we were playing Central Arkansas, which is in Conway, which is right outside of Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty far from Abilene. So we're flying. We sit on the tarmac in Abilene for a long time, like really long time. So we get to Dallas, we missed our flight in Dallas. So they're scrambling. They're like, how do we get to Conway when we play tomorrow and all this stuff? So they're trying to find buses. They're trying to rent cars. Like they're trying to do all this stuff. The only thing that there is this like crazy prom. It's not a prom bus because they had to take a pole out of the back like when we were going there because they're like, oh, this is Christian school, like, and it was good that they did. Yeah, they're like, Abilene Christian, we got to take the pole out of the back. But we're on this really sketchy bus for 7 hours to Arkansas, and we get there, no one has their gear because it's under the plane, so we have to wait for it to get to Little Rock the next day. So we practice at like 10 p.m. that night. And I'm in my sweats, I'm in my like just regular ACU t-shirt, and I'm in my Air Max, and I'm practicing, before we're playing a game. And we play Central Arkansas. We have our worst loss of the year. It was our only really bad loss that we've had. And we're driving back to Abilene that night. So you're not looking forward to a 12-hour bus ride back to Abilene.
No, of course not. Any ride after a loss is bad.
No, and our bus like rubs with a semi truck. Like hits its mirror or something like that. So we have to pull over. This has already been a nightmare trip. And our pregame meal, our bus got stuck on a curb, so you had to call the tow truck for that. And this is all in one day. This is 24 hours.
Rough road trip, man.
Yeah, rough road trip. So we get on the side of the road because we have to get out, and it's like raining too. And our coach gives us like the most like hyped up speech I've ever heard in my life. Like we can do two things. We can just like be victims, just be like down on our luck, or we can get ready for like going on the ride of our lives with which was like prophecy of what happened. Yeah, so we had to stay in like literally the middle of nowhere in Arkansas that night at some hotel, and we drove back in the morning. But yeah, it's those moments, it's that moment that the adversity and everything you've gone through like makes beating Texas in March Madness so worth it, especially in a year that has just been filled with adversity. With COVID, we had this snowstorm like I told you about that shut the town down for a week. Yeah, so I mean that's going to go down as one of my most vivid memories from this year.
And Paul, obviously you have a close relationship with your dad. How would you say he's inspired you and guided you throughout this entire journey?
Yeah, so my dad was my first coach, growing up, but my dad's like my best friend, man. Like he's the most unselfish guy like I've ever met in my life. He raised me, he's such a godly man. First of all, raised me and made my faith so much stronger. But on top of that, just a great basketball dad. You see AAU tournaments with dads that are like cussing their kids out. Yeah. And I think a lot of them just see their kids, as as their basketball is like their only like emphasis of value. Yeah. And I see that so much. And my dad isn't that at all. He always tells me every day, he's like, basketball needs you more than you need basketball. So awesome, man. He's never just given me my value as, a man. He's never just valued me because of my basketball. He values me, as a man of Christ. But he's the most Christ-like father I could ever ask. And I mean, I think fatherlessness is like the biggest issue facing our country today. I mean, there's so many different problems that stem from it. I mean, it's crazy. Like being a father is the most important job that you can have by far, is the most important job in the United States. And I mean, I'm just so grateful that my dad inspired this love for basketball in me, but didn't make it my idol. It didn't make it like my God, just, it was a tool. It got me to where I wanted to be. And I mean, he sacrificed so much. I'm not on scholarship here. So, I had to pay top dollar to come here, and he did that so that I could, live out my dream of playing Division I basketball.
And obviously, what was his reaction when you guys beat Texas? Because if he's that into it and he's that important to you, he must have been going crazy, right?
Oh my gosh. So that was the hardest thing, because we were in Indianapolis. My dad was there, my mom was there, my fiance was there, my brother was there, and we couldn't see him. Like we could not see him.
Oh, yeah, because you guys are in the bubble. Yeah.
We were locked in our hotel rooms like the whole time, and we couldn't even like come within like 100 feet of them. But there's this great picture on my Twitter. The night before we played Texas, I was in our team like meeting room, and my dad was like on the street. He was still like probably 60 yards back, but he's waving at me through the window. So he was just he was so excited to be there, because obviously it's your dream to see that happen, and all the hard work and and sacrifices that he's made, like to see it pay off like on that stage, I mean, meant the world. And he was obviously excited about all the buzz and the viral pictures and videos and everything. But yeah, no, he was just more excited, of how I represented myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw that picture. It was pretty cool.
The funniest thing, I gotta interrupt you. I gotta tell you.
No,
one
yeah,
thing.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The funniest thing was one of my favorite DMs. Some random guy from Michigan like DMs me, and he sends me a picture from 4 years ago of my Instagram. It's a picture of my dad and I, and he's like, "Dude, I met your dad at the game," and he sends me a picture of like he and all of his like frat bros, like with my dad like in the middle, like holding an ACU flag. It was my favorite DM I got. But I was like, dude, I love that. That's like the man my dad is. Like people just love him and love who he is. That even random people from Michigan,
Just
like,
absolutely random guy you've never met in your life.
Yeah, never met in my life. And I messaged him. I was like, dude, this is the best DM I've ever gotten in my life.
That's so awesome.
So it can't be any secret that you might be the greatest hype man in all of college sports, maybe in all sports in general. If there was a team, doesn't have to be basketball, could be any sport. There's a team that you got the chance to be a hype man for, that you think needs the hype man the most, who do you think it would be?
No, definitely Texas, man. They needed some energy.
They need some energy, man.
They had
got them down.
They had no energy that whole game. But
Is it that bad?
Yeah,
Nah,
I mean,
dude,
there was no.
I don't know if you watched it, Ty, but they were down bad. It was rough.
They were dead. And I mean, it's no disrespect to them, but I mean, we were interject the whole time. I didn't sit one time entire March Madness. I was on my feet the whole time. But I think it's just the shock of that. But one team that I think would need like the most hype. That's a great question. That is a really good question. I've always been a Boston Celtics fan, but I don't think I'll choose.
Oh, they need it this year, man. Rough season.
Yeah. But I don't know. I would probably choose like Conor McGregor or Colby Covington or like some UFC fighter. I think walking in like with a UFC fighter, I would be like in my element, walking in with one of those guys. But basketball or team sport, yeah, I'd have to go with the Celtics. I have to go with that. But yeah, that's a great question. I haven't gotten that one. Yeah, so I'd say the Celtics because I'd be hyped already to cheer for them.
Yeah, easy one there. So we were stalking your Instagram a little bit. Apologize for that, but
no, don't worry.
I was seeing pictures of you with like Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade, Floyd Mayweather, all these like huge names. Who's the craziest like celebrity or athlete you've ever met? And like what like crazy conversations you had with somebody?
So craziest one I've ever met is definitely probably Michael Jordan. And I remember this. So I was 7 or 8 years old, and he has like a basketball camp in Santa Barbara, which is like 40 minutes away from me. And my parents were like, "You're going to go to MJ camp." And I never like really been to like a camp. I had like, some people like work me out. So I thought it was going to be me and MJ like working out alone. So yeah, I literally thought it was going to be me and MJ chilling for like a week, like working out. So I was stoked. Like I couldn't wait to be there. And then I show up at the camp. There's like 3,000 kids there. MJ's like only there for like 10 minutes, like a day, because he's like golfing the whole time. And I remember I was so mad, like at this, that the last day of camp, like you're not allowed to like approach him or anything. Like the coaches tell you that. They're like, no one can go up and talk to him. I remember one time I was just like, screw that, man. Like, like he owes me like a private lesson.
I came here for MJ. I'm not leaving without MJ, man.
Well, it's advertising.
Yeah. So he was hanging out like at center court, and I just walk up, shake his hand. I put it out like he's like he should be excited to meet me. And I'm like, "Mr. Jordan, it's great to meet you. I'm a big fan." And he like looks at me and he nods, like, "Nice guy," nods, and then I go and sit down. But that's a great story. My parents always tell me that story, and they got a picture of it. It's on my Instagram somewhere. They got a picture of it, and this was like super long ago when the cameras were bad, and they got a great picture of it. But yeah, that's the most memorable one, I'd say. But I've been really fortunate to meet a lot of really cool people.
That's insane. Well, I want to thank you so much for hopping on with us again. this is probably one of the greatest interviews we've ever done. Thank you so much. I was really pulling for you guys to beat UCLA there, because I'm down here in Alabama and I would have
Mhm.
loved to play you guys. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a hell of a game. But one hell of a run by you and the boys. Congratulations again. And hey, anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come back on. This has been really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you guys up on that offer. You guys are awesome. So thanks so much for having me, man. The honor was all mine. I'm honored to be on your guys' show.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Paul.
Good luck
Awesome.
in
Y'all
law
have a good
school,
one.
man. We'll
Thanks
look
so
out
much,
for you.
guys. Great talking to you guys.